Chapter 144, Three-Way Deal. Actually, there were 3 pages, but the characters were too complicated and too difficult to memorize. My limit is only a little over 2 pages. I would mess up if I were to memorize more. The rest will have to wait until the next gathering, Audrey added in her head. New pages of Roselle's diary? Klein's mind stirred. He smiled and asked in reply when he already knew the answer, "Miss Justice, what do you need?" Audrey's eyes beamed with excitement, but she replied in a reserved manner, "You know that I'll soon fully digest the spectator potion. I hope that I can get the formula for the telepathist potion so that I can prepare the ingredients ahead of time. AFMM, I know that there isn't much content for 2 pages of the diary, and it might not equal to the value of the telepathist formula. So we'll give you another page. HMM. It'll also pay you a sum of money on the side." She had yet to finish what she said when she suddenly felt that it had come out wrong. She couldn't help but berate herself in her head. Mr. Fool is at the very least an important figure, which approaches that of a god. How could he be bought over by money? Hence, Audrey couldn't maintain her spectator state as she hurriedly added with a stammer, "That's not what I meant. Mr. Fool, what I meant is that you can determine the compensation that you like." "Yes, that's what I meant. Like your earlier suggestion, I would answer like this. When you have fully digested the spectator potion, you will get the formula you need. I have a subordinate. No, I have to use the word adorer. That sounds more awesome. He happens to be handling some matters that require money, and this is his anonymous account in Backland Bank, yes. Then I will disguise myself and make an anonymous account in Backland Bank." Klein didn't answer immediately, but weighed his words carefully with an unfathomable expression. Backland Bank was one of the 7 major banks in the Lone Kingdom, and as such, it possessed the right to clear transactions. The Lone Kingdom settled accounts with receipts to take care of cash transfer business between banks within the same city in a centralized manner. However, unlike banks in the Intis Republic, not all banks were part of the same league. The biggest 7 banks held on to these rights. Hence, they were called the clearance banks, making other banks rely on them. Transferring money from a different location, on the other hand, could only be done within the same bank. It would be completed by squaring accounts between branches. With the invention of the steam locomotive and telegram, the efficiency of these transfers had been enhanced drastically. Just then, the son, Derek Berg, suddenly spoke. "The telepathist potion formula. Telepathist that is followed by psyche analyst?" Audrey looked towards him puzzledly. "You know it'll fit." At the same time, Miss Justice saw a problem through her instinct as a spectator. The young man had used the ancient title psyche analyst instead of the modern term, psychiatrist. This guy is very strange. Audrey examined Son's every movement. Derek didn't think that he behaved any differently, but replied seriously, "I can get you the formula." Then, he felt guilty as he couldn't provide it immediately. He tried his best to explain himself. "It's a sequence pathway that stemmed from the dragon race, and our city of Silver was once ruled by the Giant King's imperial household. As you know, the giants and the dragons are sworn enemies. Hence, the city of Silver has all of sequence 9, 8, and 7. I have ways to get them." This kid, I already warned him not to speak carelessly or expose his origins. In the end, Klein nearly wanted to extend his hand to cover his face. Sigh, although the son appears to be in great pain, very mature and silent for his age, has just a boy after all. However, that clarifies one thing for me. It turns out that the spectator sequence's origins stem from the dragon race. It's no wonder that the symbol formed by stars behind Miss Justice's high chair is the dragon the city of Silver has. Preserved history. Well, Klein maintained his posture of leaning against the back of his chair while he listened thoughtfully to the son's description. In fact, He could have easily stopped the sun from exposing those matters. As long as he didn't help in the simultaneous translation, Justice and the Hanged Man wouldn't have understood him at all. However, Klein took a different approach. He felt that it might help him consolidate his mighty and mysterious image in the minds of the three members effectively. Hence, he listened with a smile and didn't make a sound. Giant King, Dragon Race, the city of Silver. Audrey was confused. She first took a look at the hanged man opposite her, but she could tell that he was shocked and confused as well from his body language. She looked sideways towards the seat of honor on the long bronze table. She saw the fool sitting on the high chair, engulfed in thick grayish-white fog. His right arm was placed on the armrest while he leaned sideways leisurely. He showed no shock, no curiosity, no thoughts, and no doubt. He only looked at them with a smile. He knows he knew all of this. Audrey and Alger made the definite judgment almost at the same time. The City of Silver. I've never heard of this place. Where is it? Audrey probed while Alger listened attentively. At that very moment, Derek Berg's head was filled with questions as well. He could tell that, besides the godlike fool, Justice and the Hanged Man were some sort of beyonder. In the forsaken land of the gods, besides the people in the City of Silver, Derek had never seen another living human. So, he asked in reply, "If you aren't residents of the City of Silver, which city-state are you from?" Cycline couldn't help but wish to sigh again. Audrey trembled her lips, momentarily at a loss for words. Yes, the hidden meaning behind his question is that if you don't want to answer a similar question, don't pry into the questions about where the other person lived. Justice nodded faintly and elegantly kept quiet. Obviously, Alger had misunderstood the son's intentions as well. He didn't know the other person was really just asking straightforwardly. So, he kept quiet too. When Derek didn't receive any reply, he seemed to realize what was happening. He didn't bring it up again and instead said, "I will try to get the telepathist potion formula as soon as possible. I would like to use it to exchange for the beginning sequence pathway of the sun." Sun sequence pathway? Sequence 9 Bard? Alger asked in reply. Derek thought and said, "Probably, but I lack information about it." Klein, who was watching from the side, decided to get involved because he didn't want to risk anyone taking his business away. He smiled and said, "I believe Miss Justice doesn't have the Bard formula, but Mr. Hanged Man seems to be able to get it." Seeing Audrey nod, Klein continued with a faint smile, "I will give the sun the Bard formula. The sun will pass the telepathist potion to Miss Justice as soon as possible. Try to get it done within the next 2 gatherings. Miss Justice, please pass me the new pages of Roselle's diary. Then, the deal is done." Yes, according to the law of equivalent exchange, the sun is on the losing end of this transaction. But as of now, he has only made a promise. When he really provides the telepathist formula, Miss Justice can consider how to compensate him again. Or I will compensate him while Miss Justice provides money to one of my adorers who needs to do some things recently. Heh, that's because the sun might not necessarily be able to receive Miss Justice's cash or ingredients as compensation. Klein intentionally added that final statement to redirect the Hanged Man and Justice's focus onto the fact that Sun might not be able to receive her compensation. He also did that to place himself in an unfathomable position. Then, everyone would ignore the adorer that lacked money, might not necessarily receive the compensation. Where exactly is the sun? The southern continent? Alger suddenly creased his eyebrows. The origin of the sun is mysterious too, as expected. Mr. Fool does have subordinates in reality. Audrey finally saw her hope of becoming a Sequence 8 telepathist. What other thoughts could she have? She suppressed her excitement and flashed a faint smile as she said, "I have no objections." Neither do I. When Derek saw that he could obtain the beginning sequence of the Sun pathway, he nodded without hesitation. He couldn't care less about the additional compensation. Alger, who was out of the three-way deal, didn't have the right to speak. Although he could get the formula of Bard, he would need to wait a week or two as well. At that moment, Klein, who had successfully delayed the compensation to the next gathering or the following one after, pressed his palm forward happily. The Bard formula surfaced. Main ingredients: a crystal sunflower or an adult flint bird's tail feather or a firebird's tail feather, a piece of siren rock or a singing sunflower. Supplementary ingredients: a blade of midsummer grass, 5 drops of July wine juice, a blade of elf dark leaf. He sent the formula before the sun and saw the young man first crease his eyebrows and then relax. Yes, the ingredients in the forsaken land of the gods will still be known by their ancient names. Luckily, my formula was obtained directly from the eternal blazing sun. The knowledge that I gained used ancient names, and various replacements. Klein suddenly cast his eyes of realization towards Miss Justice. Audrey looked at the son, who was memorizing the formula. Then she quickly willed the 2 pages of the diary that she had memorized. The diary immediately appeared on the yellowish-brown goatskin and, with a flash, appeared in Klein's hands. Just like before, he started reading immediately. The 3rd of November. Matilda is 3 months pregnant now. I even find those maidservants who come from the villages beautiful. No, I can't lower my standards. Coincidentally, Countess Flore has invited me to join a private party. Her. The 8th of November. Archbishop Van Esten sought my help. What can I do for an archbishop? The 9th of November. It turns out that there is actually a secret hidden within sequence pathways. Archbishop Esten told me that after becoming a sequence 5 beyonder, the rest of the sequences could be replaced with sequences of the same level from 1 or 2 other pathways. In other words, it starts from the mid-sequence to high sequence. But this is only limited between those 1 or 2 pathways. If it's replaced with a potion from a wrong pathway, semi-insanity is the mildest outcome, and one can't advance any further. This way, one can begin substituting pathways from sequence for onwards. Sleepless and corpse collector pathways. Yes, the Church Savant and Mystery Prior pathways can also substitute for one another at a high sequence.